Greetings, everyone, and give thanks for tuning in to another Real Radio Talk. Here with myself as your host, Nigis Sabaraket Ka. I am here to talk about spousal neglect. Yes, spousal neglect. Neglect from the husband, neglect from the father. And I'm going to dive into a topic that is very close to my heart, that is very personal. And sometimes the best way to get a message out or the best way to share information and knowledge and to help other ones is to talk from your own personal experience, not just from a broad perspective. But I am going to speak from a broad perspective because this goes, all across the board, all around the world, the Americas, the Caribbean, Europe, Africa. People are facing these spousal neglect situations. In my particular situation, it's with my mother and the man that she's been married to for over 20 something years. And in 2019, me and my daughter got a phone call from him. And he said he thought he was calling, I guess, the home health aid services or somebody he said he was calling, but he ended up calling me. And he was telling me my mom's situation. I had heard that, he wasn't really doing too passed away, kind of went into so, she never really kind of like liberated herself from that. And her husband didn't know how to bring her back to life, evidently either. He was already in a low state. So when she went into a low state, it just brought her down even more because she didn't have anybody to lift her up. So in 2019, me and my daughter took the trip to New York from Miami, Florida. I've been living in Miami since 2002. I haven't seen my mom in years because she was so occupied being a light body to 5 parasites. And these 5 parasites is my mother's brother, her husband, her brother's daughter, or granddaughter, her brother's great-granddaughter, and her brother's grandson. Also, her brother's contributed and raised as well. So she had 6 parasites feeding off of her light body for over 20 something years. All right. She's raising great niece and nephew and great great niece, and they're basically taking her through the ringer, biting the hand that fed them, burning bridges that were built for them. And they're missing in action. They only come around when they hear she's sick, maybe, for a few times, and then they're back lost again into their own warp zone. So my mom is married to this man for over 20 something years, raising great niece, great great niece, great nephew, and all they did was just parasite off of her. The evilness and the wickedness of these parasites is imaginable because I've seen her overexpress and overextend herself, show nothing but a kindness and a goodness and love and light to them. And all they did was suck off of her light body like a parasite. They are parasitic demons. A parasitic demon is real. And a lot of people are married to them. A lot of people have raised children, other people's children that are these parasitic demons. When I saw my mother in 2019, the stench that was attached to her, which was the entity that belongs to her husband, was unexplainable. Nothing he could tell me to excuse that. Her well care, her health care, her hygiene was at its lowest. I don't know who this woman was that I saw in 2019, but it wasn't my mother. She was so depleted in her mental body, her spirit body, her emotional body, and her physical body. Depleted, literally. She looked literally dehydrated. She looked at like the life was. She looks like the life is literally being sucked out of her. The 6 parasites sucking off of her light body for 20 something years, 30 years in some cases. And I told him that parasitic demon husband of hers, who's complaining about her headaches. She always suffered from sinuses. You need to go to the neurologist that's right across the street from her house, which is within walking distance, and let them do a CAT scan, MRI, or whatever x-ray it is that they need to do to see what's going on in her mind. When a person is complaining about headaches or any kind of aches in their body, you want to go and get that checked out, especially if it's your wife or your husband. He took it as a joke. He took it for granted. He goes and makes fake appointments knowing he don't even have any intentions of bringing her to the doctor. That her health care is being neglected. You're her husband. She has an aide that comes here every day. You need to have the aide help you bring her back to life. She should not be wearing the same clothes for months and months at a time. When the last time my mother bathed, he tells me 3 months, although she smelled like it was longer than that. I said 3 months and she has an aide sitting there? What is the aide doing? She just sits there and watches TV and pick her feet, and you let her just do that? You don't tell her to wash her clothes, clean up, cook her food. You don't help her get into the bathtub or the shower. And then eventually she'll be used to that lady, and she'll start doing it on her sister. But you can't just have her sitting there smelling. Well, the lady asked me, and she told the lady no. So I told the lady, let it stay there then if she don't want to take a bath. And then I actually spoke to the lady, and she said the same exact thing he said. Well, actually, I spoke to the lady first, and that's what the lady told me, that he told her. And he was like, yeah, because she didn't want to do it. I said, yes, but you were supposed to say, well, let me help you get her in the tub. Let me help you get her in the shower. Let me help you brush her teeth. And once my mother saw that you had a kindness and a goodness toward her, she would eventually start going with the flow. But she knows you don't give a damn. She doesn't care anymore. So both of y'all, you going down, you helping her go down. A woman that was once on a high caliber, okay? Then we go again in 2020. She's worse than she was when we saw her in 2019. I said, why every time I come and see my mom, she's looking like this? But you got on new clothes, new shoes, you got your body wash in the shower, you're getting up, doing your thing. And why she keep going through nurses' aides, home health aides, PCAs, who's running them out of there. Been through 7 of them from 2019 to 2022, but to 2021. Because we went in 2019, 2020, and 2021, 3 years straight. And each year she went down, down, down. Each year it's a different aide. He's running them away. And I've tried all other sources. I've tried lawyers. I've tried adult protective services. I've tried disability. I've tried to call the right outreach people to try and get her help. Because this is more stories I'll tell you, but this is definitely spousal neglect, elderly neglect, all the neglect under the book. Because they said she married. The law is concerned. You made that conscious decision to marry this person, and now you're old and this person is neglecting you. We can't get between that because you chose to marry this woman or this man. And that's just the way the law goes. It's messed up, but that's how it goes. And I hear these stories in different states as well. Even if there's neglect could be proven, they'll pretend they don't see it because they don't want to come between a husband and a wife. They made that choice to marry this person, and now y'all want us to come clean up the neglect or whatever. I guess whatever their law is or the reason why they do it. It's crazy to me. It doesn't make any sense. It's against humanity, but that's just how the law goes. But I want ones to hear this story, just in case you're in it personally or you know someone that's in it personally, and you can help them see the red flags and get out before they grow older and then they're stuck. And then the loved ones that really love them and want to care for them can't do it because you done gave all your rights to the neglector, the one that's treating you like you don't matter, the one that's being the evil parasite. All right? So those 6 parasites that I named, the husband, my mother's husband, my mother's brother's great-granddaughter, and you have these parasites in your life, and they will suck the mental body, your emotional body, your spiritual body, And then you start seeing the illnesses manifest itself through the physical body. 3 years straight, I've seen this body get depleted and parasited on from these evil ones. 3 years straight. Her health went down, down, down. Run through AIDS like running water because he runs them away once he sees that they're concerned about my mother's health and hygiene and wants to help her. And they like her, she likes them. He doesn't like that connection. So he finds a reason to Then on top of that, we had a nutritionist come to the house in 2019. Nutritionist came to the house. Case manager came to the house. I think in 2021, the nutritionist was trying to come to the house, I believe. But in 2019, what I witnessed was case manager from her health insurance Aetna. And the lady said they can pay me or another family member or a friend or a church member to come and be her aide. It doesn't necessarily have to be a home health aide from an agency. And I said, well, my daughter is about to have a baby soon. And I got a lot going on in Miami, Florida myself. Can she come to Florida with us and her health insurance gets switched there and she can still get the PCA and all of that, personal care rate? And the lady was like, sure, that wouldn't be a problem, but the husband would have to approve it. So the husband wants me to come up there, put my life on hold to come up there and be there with my mom so he can go and be out and about and so-called look for a job and smoke his crack and do his drugs and all the little foolishness that he's been doing throughout the marriage. And I told him, it can't work like that. You can't expect me to uproot myself like that. You should be meeting me halfway. She could come to Florida easy with us for 4 or 5 months. Give you a break, take whatever stress you think you got, because you don't have no stress. You're living off of her pension and her disability. You're living in her apartment. You're driving her car, so you're not really under no stress. She can get a home health aide. She has a nutritionist. She has a case manager. You really got the best of it. But he just simply don't want to be bothered. So he says to the case manager, he said, absolutely not. He was like, why? He's like, because you're her husband. The lady was like, you're her husband. Health insurance that'll pay for an aide to come here and help her. You're still expected to take care of her because you're married to her. And the look on his face of disappointment was so sad. And I was so embarrassed for my mother because he said this in front of her. Can you imagine a husband or a wife is asking to get paid to take care of their spouse? This is the parasitic demons I'm talking about. All right? To even open his face to say something like that. Who's been the breadwinner throughout the whole marriage. She's been the breadwinner throughout the whole marriage, and you got the nerve to want to get paid to take care of her. Now that her health is a little down, spousal neglect is real. Please look at the red flags and watch the signs. All right? Me and my daughter came back again in 2020 because 2019 showed us really that this man don't love her. We had to clean up to even stay there for the 2 weeks we were there. All right? The Haitian lady named Rhoda Lee came there and was the second aide after he ran the first aide away, the African lady, after he lied on her and had me in a disagreement with her until I realized that what she was telling me was the truth and he was the demon. He was the lion. So now they sent another one, Rhoda Lee. Me and her still speaks to this day. She even told me that man is evil and he don't love your mom. And if you can, please get your mother. All right. So the parasitic great niece that my mother raised from 4 months old, and her husband ran the lady away. Okay? Ran the lady away. Because the lady was showing, attention and love and kindness to my mother. All right? Ran her away. And she went through 5 more aides after that. Personal care aides after that. That same parasitic niece that my mother raised, she came a week later after running the aide away, or a few days later, looking for life insurance papers. My mother's husband tells her there's no life insurance for you. The life insurance that she did have out on you, you wanted her to put it in your name and she paid for it. And, My mother wasn't going for that. So that life insurance that she think is there, it's not there. And how you coming in there in my mother's house, fumbling through all her papers, looking for some papers that don't even exist. And first of all, she haven't even closed her eyes yet. She haven't even left the planet yet. So how are you getting life insurance and she's not even dead yet? So parasitic energy is real, sucking off of her light body, looking for paperwork, thinking that there's money for her. And my mom haven't even closed her eyes yet. She needs to go find her mother, a real mother, which she knows who she is. And she needs to go get her off drugs and get her mother right. Because she has depleted my mother and parasite off my mother from 4 months old up to now. She needs to really go and kick rocks and she go get her mother off drugs. Because she has depleted my mother to a blood clot on her brain. My mom's in the hospital right now with a blood clot on her brain. Before that, last year, she was in the hospital for a seizure and COVID. Before that, she had a liver operation. And whatever else was happening with her health before that I'm not aware of. I'm just speaking of what I know and what I'm aware of. So they've been sucking off of her mental, her emotional, and her spiritual body for a long time. And it's now have manifested itself through the physical body, which is the blood clot on the brain, which is the seizure, which is the COVID, which is the liver operation. And if you know anything about organs and emotions, the liver holds anger. The liver is associated to the anger emotion. So she became very angry because she's given all this love light and all this attention to that never loved her. And my daughter used to speak to her on a regular basis when she was in her early teens, 13, 14, 15, like that. And my daughter used to say, Granny, you sound so stressed out. Are you okay? You sound stressed out, Granny. And I'm listening to my young teenager daughter at the time. She's 26 now, but at the time, she's saying this. And my mom's like, no, it's just work. I'm stressed from work. It's too much work. And she's like, that's what I'm saying, Granny. You're the only one doing everything. You're the only one working. You're doing too much. You sound stressed. And it's like she would get irritated and angry and aggravated because my daughter tuned in on what was happening to her due to the parasites that were sucking off of her life body. Raising children that don't give a damn about her. The only love they have is that you didn't keep me in the system where I probably would have turned out to be nothing. That's the only love they have. That she saved them from destruction. But other than that, you're just a great aunt. You're not my real mother. So they feel not obligated, which is sad, but it's true. And I know people may say, oh, I hear these stories all the time. It's normal. No, it's not normal. Just because you hear something all the time, that doesn't make it righteous and it doesn't make it normal. It's normal because people get conditioned to being dysfunctional. People get conditioned to certain wicked and evilness. That's not normal. The way her husband treating her is not normal. Just because it happens all the time, that doesn't make it right and it doesn't make it normal. All right? Well, the signs are there. My grandfather told my mother to leave that nigga alone, excuse my language, because he doesn't even use that type of vernacular language. But that day he spoke it. He spoke what it is. And she still ran out behind this fool, behind this parasitic demon, saying to him, you're going to leave me and I'll put you before my family. So she put this thing out into the universe, and the universe allow it to manifest to how it's manifesting itself now. Once he heard that, he knew he can continue to treat her like nothing and continue to be a parasite and suck out of her life body because she put him before her family. And that demon loved it. The stinking demon that he represents loved it. Just let that marinate. All right? So let's move on. We're at 2020 now. That same great niece that she raised from 4 months old and helped raise the great nephew and the great great niece too, stole my mother's rings and her jewelry and her bracelets because her husband had a little job at the time. This is when he would work off and on. So I guess this was his on time he would work. And the great niece was there, supposedly while he worked late. Next morning, my mom's looking for her ring and her bracelet and her necklace, and it's missing. And then the great niece tried to say my mother's husband did it. He was like, why would I do it? I bought the ring and I'm not here at night. You are. And her own daughter said that she did it. So when she tried to make my mother believe that the husband did it, my mom told her to stop talking stupidness, stop being silly. So she knew in her heart of hearts that her husband didn't steal the wedding ring, that her great niece that she raised from 4 months old, that's been parasiting off of her light body, stole her wedding ring, her jewelry, her necklaces, sold it, and went to a trip to Haiti with her friends. Okay? Let my mother husband tell it, that was the story. I don't believe none of them. Okay? But what I do believe is when I hear something, I know how to sort out the truth from the lie. And I know that parasitic demon that's been parasiting off of my mother's light body since 4 months old stole my mother's jewelry. Her own daughter said she did it. Okay? The husband didn't do it. As much as I don't check for him, period, point blank, he did it. When he did it, I'll say he did it. When she did it, I'll say she did it. If it doesn't sound right, I'll say, hey, it don't sound right. And I ain't gonna break my head trying to find out the truth. It just don't sound right. But I know the truth when I hear it, and I know a lie when I hear it. Just like she coming in looking for life insurance papers. Just like him being a parasite as well. One parasite ain't no different than the other. They're both sucking off her life force. When the red flags are there, when the signs are there, please let go. Because there's a better light out there for you. It's not a fake light, it's a real light. Your soulmate is there, but you can't get to it because you have parasitic demons sucking off of your light body. So there's no way your soulmate is going to see your light shining bright. They're not going to attract to you because you got parasites sucking off you. And I just want ones to take heed to this, please. If you know someone or if you're in a spousal neglect situation or just not even being married, just a messed up relationship, period, or friendship or workmanship, whatever it is, you have to go because the red signs are there for a reason. You understand what I'm saying? The Most High put people there in your life to give you those messages and those warnings. Those are your angels telling you, speaking through people. And when you ignore them, sometimes it brings on an illness, like what my mom is suffering from. Because now it's starting to manifest itself. It's not even starting now, it has manifested itself into her physical body. The mental body, the emotional body, and the spiritual body is gone. Now it's manifesting what was going on in the mental, spiritual, has now expressed itself as a illnesses. Right now she's sitting in the hospital with a brain tumor, with a blood on her brain. Okay? Before that, it was last year, the seizure and the COVID. And then some years before that, it was the liver operation. So the manifestations of these bodies that's been broken down, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual body that's been broken down over the years has now manifested itself in her spirit, in her physical body. So now she's physically getting sick. And that's why she looks dehydrated and depleted. Because it's expressing itself throughout her physical body. Yes. So you have to be careful. You have to be very careful, super wary who you allow in your cipher, who you allow in your auric field, because they will latch, they will attach, and they will suck your light body. They will. Mother was a devoted Christian, ushered on Sundays, went to Sunday school, Bible study, paid her tithes and offerings, in good position with the church, gave church members, friends cars, and had goddaughters in the church. And they seem to not care. And the reason why they don't care, as far as the church as a whole, is because when he brought that young girl to the church, my mom moved to Florida for a few years to get away from his evilness. He brought some young Haitian girl to the church. He did it about 2 times. And the second time, the pastor told him, you can't do this. You know, you're only a member because of, your wife. You can't do this. And then they see my mom come back to New York and go back with him. So I guess they figure, well, she keeps going back to him. We as a church, we can't get involved with that because that is her husband. And the Bible say this and the Bible say that. So that's where their stance were. Although they know he's full of shit, excuse my language, they know he's a parasitic demon. They remember him running into the church one night high on drugs, driving a company's truck that he left in the middle of the straight path in Wyandanch, ran into church talking about somebody's chasing him, get him away from me. That's the stink entity that he represents that has attached itself to my mother. So this is not just a speaking physical thing. This thing is on a higher spiritual level as well. Because back in 2021, me and my daughter, was getting off on him because we dropped my mom off on a Monday, said we'll come back for her Wednesday, and she got the same clothes on, still smelling the same way. When he got on new Timbs, new Dickies, new sweatshirt. While my mom looking like Raggedy Ann, smelling like an old hag. So while we get into the house, before we get into the house, my daughter started hitting her husband with the stick. She was very upset. And she had like a little close relationship with her life because my mom was too busy being a light body to 6 parasites. So she snapped on him. We called the cops. I called the cops. The cops came. They did their thing. They talked to us, said what they said, and they left. When the officer left, me and my daughter was still going off on him. And my back was to my mother's hallway, and I was sitting like adjacent to the hallway. My mom's back was to the hallway, and my daughter was facing the hallway. And from the corner of the closet and the corner of the bathroom, it mostly came out of the closet. There was a dark shadow moving like how you see clouds move, simultaneously. It just moved over the hallway light. The hallway light came dark for a few seconds, and then as it passed the hallway light, it went in between the corner of her bedroom and the bathroom, the other side of the bathroom. And I wasn't, because I didn't want the men to think I was crazy. But then my daughter said, rubbed her eye and said, "Mom, did you see that?" I said, "Yes, I saw it. I'm glad you said something." Yes. I said, that's the entity that's attached to him, that's attached to my mother. And me and my daughter both said to him, that entity is here for you. It doesn't like what we're saying to you. This is you. And I said, "Mom, he's the devil. You got an entity attached to you. We just saw it. And that's why you're in this low state that you're in. This is not you. You are a high caliber person. This is not you." And she just had this look on her face like, about 5 seconds, it's like she said to herself, "Yeah, this is why I'm like this. Yeah, now I see why I'm like this." It explains it, So that's why I keep saying a mental body, a spiritual body, her emotional body was being depleted over years. The 6 parasites was sucking it out of her. And now it has hit the last body, the physical body, and it's expressing itself through the sicknesses. through the blood clot on the brain, through the seizure and the COVID, through the liver operation, through the headaches, through the stress that my daughter was hearing when she used to speak to her in her early teens, 14, 15, like that. It was manifesting then. So now we fast forward to 2023. Look where she is. Look where she is. You got to watch the red flags and the signs. When elders or family members or friends that you know don't mean you any harm, and you know they're speaking the truth, whether you want to hear it or not, when they say leave somebody alone, they don't mean you any good, you deserve better, you got to know that. And there's nothing wrong with letting go and moving on, or giving yourself a break from relationship for a couple of years or a few months, however long it takes for you to get it right. And then allow your light to attract that right light, not a fake light, the real light. Your real mate, you will attract that person eventually. Because light is going to attract light. Within that light shall we see light. Doesn't that says, isn't that in the Bible? I believe that's what, Psalms 38 or something like that? Psalm 37 or something like that. I'm not a Bible thumper like that, but I remember Psalms 30 something and speaks, within that light shall we see light. But she couldn't see the light because she didn't have light around her. She had fake light around her. She had 6 parasites sucking her light body. Okay? He ran all her aids away, all the help that her insurance pays for. He ran it away. When the nutritionist would come to the house, he wouldn't answer the door or answer the phone. When the case manager would come there, he wouldn't answer the phone or answer the door, because now they're asking probing questions. When the last time she been to the doctor, when the last time she had a checkup, they ask questions that he can't answer and don't want to answer. He wants to get 10 hours a day home health aid service. And they told him back in 2019, absolutely no. And now it's 2023. He's still talking about he's trying to get 10 hours. First, he wanted all night, 12 hours. They told him absolutely no, because she's not in a state of condition to need all of them hours. And you're her husband. You're still responsible for her, too. You have more responsibility for her than we have to send an aid. Now he's talking about 10 hours. They told him no. It won't be 10 hours either. Back in 2019, he was told that. And he's recently telling somebody else a few weeks ago that he's trying to get 10 hours. You're back onto that same old delusional with trying to get something that they told you you're not getting. The lady told him in his face, you won't get that. The most you're going to get is 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. You pick the days, you pick the hours. Her condition is not that dire that she needs overnight or 10 hours. You are responsible for her. Here people are. Because he doesn't want to be bothered. He wants all the time in the world to himself. That's why he wants to have those long hour health aid services, so he doesn't have to be bothered, and he can do his drugs and drink his alcohol and drive in her car and spend her pension and spend her disability. That's what this is all about. So the red flags are there. The warnings are there, the messages are there. Sometimes the messages may come from a stranger, someone who don't really know you, or someone that you don't really get along with, but they're telling you the truth, and you know it's the truth in your subconscious mind and your hearts of heart, you know it's the truth. Don't stay, leave, because I don't want you to end up in a situation like my mom, regretting that she's in this situation. She doesn't deserve this. I know she put it on herself, but she still doesn't deserve this type of treatment. The type of love light she gave to those parasites, those demonic parasites, she doesn't deserve to be in this situation. I'm the voice for her. My daughter, my children, my grandchildren, we're her voice. The only true voice that's going to speak the truth and not pretend like, oh, she's going to be all right. She looks good. She just knowing damn well she don't. Because I know how she's supposed to look. I know where she came from. And when we fast forward to now, that's not it. Maybe it for other people who don't give a damn, like those 6 parasites and everybody else who don't really care. They just pretend to care. She shouldn't be in a nursing home. She left the nursing home, and that's how she ended up in the hospital. She was only in the nursing home for about 1.5 years after she left the hospital from the seizure and the COVID. She went straight to the nursing home. She never went home. been from the nursing home just last week sometime. Her stupid husband gets a call that she's not feeling well. He tells him to call the ambulance, and they took her to the hospital to find out she got a blood clot on her brain. And all of this could have been avoided had he would have took care of her health care properly, allowed the nutritionist, allowed the case managers to do their job. He discontinued the services. He discontinued the nutritionist. He discontinued the case manager. He discontinued her home health aide because they're not giving him the hours he wants. Demonic parasite. And that great niece that she raised, she don't give a damn either. She's waiting on life insurance, like what the husband is waiting on. He's waiting on life insurance as well. But now he's just spending the pension and the disability and driving the car and living in her apartment. Yeah, that's all they want, her assets. They want her assets. And I've seen situations like this in the past, and it always boils down to that old greedy dollar. That's what it passed down. They'd rather have the money than have her living. Because see, they done sucked her out so much. The parasite off of her light body, they depleted her out, and she's no more good to them. So the next best thing in their mind is, she just needs to die so I can see what assets she got left. Because I can't suck her out no more. So you just have to be mindful who you marry to, who you decide to share your assets with, who you settle down with, who you put before your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, who you put before your family, who you put before yourself. Love yourself first. Once you love yourself first, nobody could disrespect you because you're not going to allow it. And the moment you see it happen, you're going to cut that parasite out so quick. It's going to be fast like a lightning strike. That's how quick you're going to want to get that from up around you. But when you're in a sunken place, when you're depressed, and you don't have the right love around you, not fake love, the real love. You don't have real love around you, you can't heal. She needs to be restored and replenished. She needs to be resorted, retreated, refreshed. She needs to be whole again. Bring her light body back to shine in its original radiance. That's where she needs to be at. 66 years old, in the hospital with a blood clot on your brain. No, she should be enjoying the best of her life right now. Visiting her children, grandchildren, visiting other families, visiting friends, traveling, just living good. She done paid her debt to work for society. She done paid her debt raising people, ungrateful children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. She paid her debt to parasites, the 6 parasites sucking the light body out of her. She paid that. And this is the thing she gets. So please take heed to the red flags, the messages, the warnings. Don't watch who it's coming from. Listen to them when they tell you. Listen to them. And you know in your heart to hearts and your subconscious mind that they're not lying to you. Move away from that. Get out of it. Because those parasites will suck the very life, the very breath you breathe. They will take it with no remorse, with no concern. Okay? Please, if you're in this personally, if you know someone that's in this personally, and you're able to help them, get them out of it before it's too late. Don't let them grow into their elderly stages and then try to save them. So the law is not going to help you. You can spend all the money you want on a lawyer, depending what state it is. As long as that's their wife or their husband, there's nothing you're going to be able to do, especially if they didn't write something saying that if something happened to them, that you'll be responsible for their health and well-being. 9 out of 10 times, a lot of wives, a lot of husbands, but this doesn't just go for wives. I'm just speaking on a wife tip because it's my mother. But this goes for man and woman. A lot of times they leave out of here miserable, unhappy, sick, full of stress, and all their hard work, all the bread that they had brought in that basket is being eaten by parasites and vipers. So you have to remember that when I grow old, is this person, this husband, is this wife going to grow old with me and make sure that I'm healthy and do the sick, the thick. You got to ask these questions to yourself. The beginning stages before you even get married. But if you don't think about it till after you married, in your beginning stages of that relationship, you need to be asking those key questions to yourself and to your spouse. And you need to go in it with a heart-to-heart open mind. Know if they're lying to you, because they'll say, yes, yes, of course, I got you, baby, yeah. They'll say all of that. But you got to know in your hearts and hearts and be able to discern in your subconscious mind if this person really going to be about it. And I think that I basically covered everything that I wanted to cover, everything that I needed to say here. So you can walk away with these keys, with these tools, and this information to use for yourself, if it's for yourself or for a loved one, a friend, or a family. You understand? Because you have good souls like my mom that have, had good workmanship, good friendships, good relationships with people, and this is the thing she gets in the end. You shouldn't be suffering the way she is. You really shouldn't. But when you have fake love around you, when you have parasites sucking on your light body, your physical body starts expressing through disease. Dis-ease. She's been at dis-ease for so many years that now it has manifested in a brain tumor, in a blood clot on the brain. All right? A stroke, blood clot on the brain tumor, however you want to label it. The seizure, the COVID, the liver operation, hosting so much anger within her liver, then where they had to take half of it out. She became angry as they were sucking the light body out of her. She needs to love her. That wants to see her mind liberated and her body liberated, smelling good and feeling good and looking good and eating good, resting good. Like a solemn sound. That's where she needs to be at. And me, my daughter, and my grandchildren, my son, we're the only ones that want that for her, that see that like that, in that way. They think other people think it's normal for them to be in nursing homes and to get sick. Those things aren't normal. This ease is not normal. And whoever says it is just as retarded as the disease itself. Let's start being these true light workers, these true spiritual people that we say we are, being that. And let's try and help the loved ones, our friends, our family, our employees, anybody that you see going through these stages and these things in their life. Help them before it's too late. You don't want them to be 66 years old in their elder years going through what my mother is going through. Just remember, the mental body, the spiritual body, the emotional body, and the physical body, they all work hand to hand. They're all on the same hand. Let's look at it like that. They're all on the same path. So when one is destroyed, the other is destroyed. When the other is destroyed, another one is destroyed. Until all four bodies are done. So if you love your family, you love your friends, and you see them going through this, or if you're going through this personally, if you love yourself so much, love yourself first. Look at yourself in that mirror and see all the goodness and the beauty within you, all your imperfections, your perfect imperfections. See all of that and love it, embrace it. Give yourself a divine embrace every day. Hug yourself, tell yourself you love you. Start breaking those generational curses. Break the chains. of depression. You know that you deserve better. Know that you are better and you can be better and get better. Because the ones that you allow to suck your light body, they don't care. And once you realize that and snap out of the illusion that they care and trying to convince yourself that you did all this good and they appreciate it, just accept that they don't. They don't. You did your good deed towards humanity. Show some love to yourself for that. Don't allow it to happen again and move on, move forward. Shine your brighter light. You can attract that real bright light. And give thanks for tuning in. I give thanks for your time and your attention for this dire situation. Send out those healing prayers from my mom. And I'll talk to you soon on the next episode. Peace and love and gratitude.